Okay, hi. This is Leave the Review, Take the Cannoli. I'm Tony. Joe's not here. We're not telling him we're doing this, all right? This is kind of a shitty movie review show, so we want you to have as much fun as I have during this. I need you to get on my level. First off, have 3 beers before you start watching this. Secondly, we've turned this into the greatest drinking game ever, and by the greatest drinking game ever, I mean I don't want you standing at the end of it. Here's what you gotta do. 1, every time I swear, take a drink. 2, every time Joe says take a drink. 3, every time I roll my eyes or look completely bored, take a drink. Every time Joe goes ahead and talks over me, take a drink. Every time I talk over Joe, take 2 drinks. If you see a dog pop into the shot, take a drink. If you see a huge pussy, go ahead and take 2 drinks. All right? Every time I get up to go to the bathroom, you waterfall that bitch or chug it. And if Joe and I get into an actual argument, then you finish that beer and get another one. If you're drinking wine, you're not classy. You're just drinking a little cheaper. And if you're drinking hard liquor, I kind of sort of hope this kills you. All right. Thanks again for Leave the Review. Take the cannoli. Have a great day.
Hello everybody, I want to say hi to our 5s of 10s of fans. This is Leave the Review, Take the Cannoli, the final sober edition, hopefully. And God willing, our last sober edition ever. My name is Tony. I'm here as always with Joe, JC Compagna, sitting in his backyard, enjoying the beautiful bright weather.
Beautiful out today.
And today we are going to wrap up our How I Met Your Mother reviews with Happy Thank You More Please. Written, directed, and starring Josh Redner, who plays Ted Mosby, and does an absolutely excellent job in a little bit of an independent film, if you consider a movie with a big budget done by an actual television star an independent film.
Big budget? How big of a budget could it possibly be?
Compared to most of your independent films that are going to have a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 budget, this movie's huge. I can't imagine this being over $2 or $3 million, but you know when you put
it didn't seem like a high budget, and I'm not slamming that at all.
No, I'm saying I mean just to get Malin Ackerman herself to pay yourself for Josh Radnor to be able to shut down streets in New York, et cetera, filming, paying extras. I mean, you know, permits alone are going to be costly. So I mean, that's one of those odd things. It is an independent film. Well, that one we just reviewed, Jeff Who Lives at Home, had a $10 million budget and was essentially an independent film, which is just kind of weird.
There's no way somebody should have given him $10 million for that.
There is. They didn't give it to him. They gave it to the guy from the league.
Well, whatever.
But either way, right now we're going to do Happy Thank You More Please, which is just a happy, fun story with a couple of great life lessons in it that I think can really pass along. I think this is definitely worth a watch. I have seen this movie 3 times now. I saw it once on my own because it had Josh Radnor and I wanted to see what he could do with a career. I saw it a second time with a girl I was dating because I wanted her to see it and she hadn't seen it yet. And I watched it a 3rd time so I could make sure that I could review it and give it my best effort for this show. It starts off with Josh Radnor, Ted Mosby, playing Sam. Who is a writer. He's pretty good at short stories, not so good at the full novels, which is, of course, where the big bucks are. He's trying
just kind of a metaphor for his life.
Right, exactly. He's kind of drifting through life, almost 30 years old, trying to accomplish this, that, and the other thing, but on the same account, either failing or I think often shooting himself in the foot,
well, that's what
being
it is.
Afraid of failure, or being afraid of success. That can happen and having that excuse. He is friends with Malin Ackerman, who I think does an absolutely wonderful job.
She's the one with no hair, right?
Right. She has alopecia.
Does a great job.
Yep, which is a disease, of course, that causes you to lose all hair. As she points out in the movie, she made it cool to be bare down there before it was cool. She plays just a fun, whimsical person who, once again, is afraid of success, but not in a professional, but instead a romantic level.
Right.
And she's not giving the regular guys the chance that are going after her. She's, of course, going for the jerks and the pricks that absolutely treat her like hell. And at least then, you know, when you get dumped by that person, you can say, you know, like, well, he was a jerk anyway, as opposed to the nice guy who ends up maybe not working out or possibly working out. So that's the second linear story, and the third tale in it that interconnects is Zoe Kravitz, I believe, is her last, something like that. Who I think she's great. She's in a long-term relationship with her boyfriend, who's played by some guy. and she wants to stay in New York. He wants to move to Los Angeles, as they're going and bickering back and forth over the stress that this can cause in a relationship. And a lot of times you want to sit down and say, like, wait, this could be solved very easily with a discussion. And I think this movie shows very well that sometimes it can't just be solved like that with a discussion.
Right.
So those are the three linear tales that are all intertwining. They're all friends. They all know each other. They're all leaning on each other, talking to each other, helping each other through this stuff. Because it almost seems like for what one's strong in, the other's weak, et cetera, et cetera. And it works very, very well. We all wish, I think, that we could have friends like that.
Well, and I think and then the catalyst that jumpstarts us all is Josh Radnor's character Sam is on the subway, and he sees a foster child get separated from his foster parents, who we find are bad parents anyway. So then he feels for the kid, he connects with them, he wants to take them in. But of course, he does it the illegal way by just not telling anybody, just taking them.
We call that kidnapping, where I'm from, by the way.
So magically, he doesn't get in trouble for that, but I like the movie enough where I'll give that a pass, you know.
Well, he does get arrested.
Well, he does, but he
Yeah.
doesn't. I mean, nothing happens.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't. You know, he doesn't really get in trouble for it. But
Most places nowadays, he'd go ahead and be told he has to stay 100 yards away from
Right,
the children.
right.
And, but
you didn't mention yet. This movie also, I don't want to say stars, but she's a good part in it. The beautiful Kate Mara.
Kate
Just
Mara does an excellent job. She
absolutely
plays
gorgeous
Josh
woman.
Radnor's love interest. Her name is Mississippi, and guess where she's from?
Mississippi.
Alabama. No, it's Mississippi. But she plays the love interest. She's a bartender. She's trying to make it as a musician. And you get to watch her and Josh Radnor be really, really romantic towards each other. And then Josh Radnor becomes basically creepy Ted Mosby, like when he first hit on. Yeah, when he first hit on Robin.
He's really Ted Mosby in this.
Yeah.
Except in that, I'm not going to say darker. He's not more serious.
I think he's
Ted
the
Mosby.
Ted Mosby in between shots. He's the Ted Mosby
Right.
where you're following Robin and Barney.
I have
it's the Ted you don't see.
I have a feeling he's going to be a typecast character.
Well, I think what you're going to see with him personally is you're going to see him move behind the camera.
Right.
And he's going to stick to writing and directing because I don't think he's a Hollywood star.
No.
I don't think he has what it takes.
I
But
think he
he's
can
gonna
be in
great.
a movie as a
Third-
not even
third
a
string.
co-star, just
Yeah,
somebody
so-
that's in it.
Yeah, but I think he's good behind the camera. I think this movie really demonstrates that well.
Right.
The other thing you're going to see in this film is as Kate Mara and him are having their nice little romantic tryst, he does creep it out. He does make it not work, but he is able to, or attempts to rescue it at the end, which I think that's showing in a lot of ways that he is, of course, growing, that he's willing to take these chances and possibly be successful at least something.
Right.
In life. Obviously, as you watch it, you're thinking to yourself, this guy does not need a kid. By no means would having a kid be good for this man's
not ready.
life. But on the same
It helps him
account-
become ready, though.
Right. It shows him kind of the things he needs to do, and that's why I think everyone, of course, has to grow up. It's not fun. Some people do it in great ways, where they start families and have start families and have great jobs. Other people start YouTube channels and get drunk a lot. But whatever you need to do to move to that next level in your life is something that you have to do, and I think this is where that movie really succeeds, is showing these young 30-somethings accomplishing that.
And I know we disagree a lot, or at least we will be disagreeing a lot in different movies we talk about. But I gotta thank you for. I had never heard of this movie. Tony knows I'm a huge fan of How I Met Your Mother. Ted Mosby is my favorite character, except for Barney. Barney's my favorite character, but Ted Mosby's second. And so Tony said, well, he starred and directed and all that in this Happy Thank You More Please. So I'm like, I'm in. As I wrote on the review, I'm in. I want to watch it, and I really did like it. It's kind of a chick flick, but you know what? It's. I mean, I think guys could watch it. Or
I hope so. I've watched it twice by myself.
Right, but I mean, guys can watch it and not feel bad. Unlike Buffy, guys, you shouldn't watch that. And if you do, you should feel horrible. What do you think?
I think you're a terrible, terrible person, Joe, who's just taking shots at me when I'm still mostly sober. And I don't really feel like
Well, it's
that's...
easier to take shots at you when you're drunk.
Apparently so, but right now you're kind of hurting my feelings.
No, anyways, I really did like this movie. I gave it 3 stubbies. I think it's definitely a movie you should go out and see, especially if you're a fan of How I Met Your Mother and Josh Radnor. I hope he does write and direct more. I hope I see him in other things. He seems like a good character, good guy, and
I'll absolutely concur. I'll agree with Three Stubbies on this movie. I think it's a wonderful film. Definitely something you should watch. It's not going to be a classic. It's not something that you have to rush out and see, but it's definitely something you should see in your life. I'd be proud to have it in my collection if I ever actually bought movies, but it would be something that I'd want right up there. It's something you should check out, and please do. On that note, please make sure to round out How I Met Your Mother week. You do check out also the Starship Troopers thing that we'll be doing next with Neil Patrick Harris. Thank you.
Peace out.